Hey guys, believe it or not, I have tried to upload this video more than 5 times. So I started to make it a personal video, but my camera on my phone, the video on my phone was just not cooperating. So I had to go this route. I'm hoping this will work because really tired of trying to upload this video. Um, So basically, I wanted to share a very important vision that I received this morning. Um, it's Saturday, and at 7:38 a.m., I awoke, and I did not set my alarm to get up that early. I just felt pretty rested when I woke up, but everybody was still asleep, so I just kind of laid in the bed. I didn't intend on going back to sleep, but I did go back to sleep, and the Lord gave me a very, very important vision that I want to share with you all. So I remember seeing myself in this house, and I was singing this song that I don't know what the song was. I had the impression that I was making the song up as I went along. And I remember I was singing about how I love the Lord. And I remember I was looking out of the window. It was a night sky, and I noticed this bright light that was coming from the sky. And I couldn't make out if it was a star or not. I just knew that the light was shining very bright. And as I kept looking at this light, I was drawn into a vision. I was taken into a vision. I then saw these three um, space vehicles. I don't know what else to call them because they were not airplanes. It wasn't a jet. It wasn't a spacecraft or UFO. It was just a space vehicle. They were, all three of them were white. And I remember I was really trying to look closely to see if anything stood out that I could remember when I woke up. And the only thing that stood out was that they had a lot of numbers written on it. And there was also a hazardous symbol on the side of this vehicle. As I was still looking at these vehicles, they ended up disappearing. And I remember hearing this very authoritative voice come from within me. It was as if the voice came from within, but I could still hear it around me. It was a very loud, powerful voice that it I truly believe it was the voice of God. Like I believe that because it was so powerful and it was such an authoritative voice. And my mouth was moving as these words was coming out, but it was not me speaking. And I heard the word say, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for Satan has come down upon you." And woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for Satan has come down upon you, having great wrath. As soon as those words were spoken, I heard this wail. It was like a cry from my soul. Just began to cry out. And I was then taken into another scene. And um I saw what looked to be a scene of just mass destruction. There was destruction everywhere. I mean, buildings were crumbled. It just looked like a war zone. And I could see people on the streets. It was chaos and confusion. And as I'm seeing this, I remember seeing these letters like the alphabet. Letters were falling from the sky, and they were black. They were all black, and they were hitting the streets. I could literally hear these letters falling upon the streets, and I could hear them falling. and hitting the ground. As I saw this, it took me to another scene where I just saw hundreds upon hundreds of people just scattered abroad. And they were just, they had a look of confusion. Their countenance was one of where they just felt like it looked like they had no hope. They looked hungry, they looked confused, they looked out of sorts. It just looked like they had no clue what was going on. It was so heartbreaking to see the countenance of these people. And then it took me to a scene where I saw piles upon piles upon piles of dead bodies. And for whatever reason, I was shown um, a head. I know this is going to sound strange, but this is what I was shown. And mind you, I was in the spirit. I was being taken into different places. And I was shown this scene, and this scene was more animated. And I think it was because it was just a way for me to be able to take in what I was seeing without being completely um, disturbed by it. But I saw a head, and I knew that it was trying to find its body. And the head ended up finding the body, and when it found its body, it reconnected itself, and then it started walking. I was immediately then taken into another scene where I saw this man, and I knew he was a man who had wealth. And he had one shoe on his feet, on his foot. And he was looking for his other shoe, and he ended up finding his shoe on somebody else. And he offered the man $1,000 for the shoe. And what I took from that scene was um, the basic necessities that we have been so used to having is going to become so hard to attain. And even though this man had wealth to the point where he could offer somebody $1,000 just so he could have his other shoe, money is not going to money is not going to get you anywhere. And I just felt like there was such a desperate need for just the basic things. That's what really grabbed hold of me when I was watching this. I knew in my spirit what was going on. And so I saw that scene take place, and then I was shown a refrigerator. I don't know why, but I was shown a refrigerator, and there were three drawings where it looked like a little kid had drew this and colored it, and the scenes were depicting what I believe was something pertaining to being with Jesus. Um, and then I was shown Christmas stockings. I was shown three red Christmas stockings that were hanging up, and on each stocking was a letter, and the letters spelled out ALL, all. I don't know what that means, but I was shown that. And then I was taken into another scene where I could hear, like it was like a TV was being played, and I could hear um, the TV was speaking about the Bible, and I remember it mentioning the prophet Isaiah, and as I was listening to it, I was really trying to hear very closely because I knew I was in a vision, and I was trying to capture everything I could and try to remember everything I could so when I woke up, I could share it. But for whatever reason, I was only able to remember bits and pieces. And so as I was listening to this play in the background, I then heard people refer to Obama as Saint Obama. They kept referring to him as Saint Obama. And I had a knowing in my spirit at this point in the vision where Obama was being worshipped as a god. And it was as if the Bible had been twisted to fit that Obama was the one who was to come to save the world. I don't know, but that was what I knew as I was in this scene. And I had the feeling, if you guys have ever seen the book of Eli, in that movie, the Bible was such a wanted, uh, the person in this movie wanted the Bible so desperately because he knew that if he had the Bible, he could rule the world because he could twist the scriptures to fit how he wanted people to worship him and how he could have people do what he wanted them to do. And so that's what the book of Eli was about. It was about trying to find this missing book, which ended up being the Bible. And the feeling that I got in this vision was the Bible had been twisted because I knew that what was taking place, the time that was being shown to me, it was a time where um, everything had changed and the world was not the same anymore. And the Bible was being used in a way to fit how they wanted the world to believe the Bible was really speaking of, and they really um, made it to be where Obama was the one who was to come to save the world. And so they referred to him as Saint Obama. I knew he was being worshipped as a god. And so after that scene is when I woke up. Now, when I woke up, I literally slept for about an hour. So I had all of this going on just within an hour. And I was really amazed because I felt like I had been sleeping longer than that, but it was just an hour. Now, in the scene where I said I saw these black letters, like the alphabet, the black letters falling from the sky, I remember in that moment I was also thinking, while I was being shown this, I was thinking in my spirit, this is what Shannon Johnson saw. Because he had a dream that he shared where he saw letters falling from the sky. But the only difference is my letters were black. I don't know if his letters were of different colors. I don't remember, but I know he had shared a dream about that months ago. But in this vision, I remember saying that inwardly. This is what Shannon Johnson saw. I was praying about this and I was asking the Lord, why would I see the letters falling? And the Lord began to speak to my spirit and he said that it what stood out to me was it is finished. Because I heard the words, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for Satan has come down upon you having great wrath. And then I was immediately taken into a scene where I saw mass destruction. It was like a war zone. There was chaos in the streets among people. And then I was instantly um, shown the black letters falling. And the Lord spoke to my spirit and said, it is finished. And he was letting me know that during this time is when everything is basically has basically come to a head. Everything that was written about what was going to happen before and during and after the Great Tribulation, it was like the letters falling was like it is finished. Everything I said was going to take place before this Great Tribulation comes is here now. And so I hope that made sense, you guys. I'm really trying to explain this. But also, I want to point out that throughout this whole vision, it was like I was crying from the depths of my soul. It was such a intense and powerful cry as I was being taken into these different scenes. It was such a inner cry. It was coming from my soul. I don't know how to express that even more clear than that. But when I woke up, the Lord told me, write this down. And as I was writing this down in my dream journal, tears was literally flooding my eyes because I could still feel the intensity of what the Lord showed me. And so I'm sorry this video got long. I really was trying to speak fast, but I had to share this with you all. And I just want you guys to really pray over this because I'm telling you, the dreams and the visions are getting more intense. So many people are having dreams and visions. I believe truly that the Lord is so near. And what the Lord showed me was different scenes. And they were scenes that really grabbed hold of me as it was being shown to me. And like I said, each thing that was being shown, there was such a cry. It was such a cry from the depths of my soul that was crying out. And I feel like I was crying out not for me. I was crying out for all of us. I was crying out for the whole world. That's how deep the cry was and how much it impacted um, the just the feel of what was being shown and how it affected me being shown this. It was so powerful. Um, but yeah, I had to share this with you all. Please let me know what you get from it. The Christmas stuff, I don't know what that is. I don't know why I was shown three Christmas stockings. I don't know what the word all would represent as to why that was relayed in the Christmas stockings. Um, but very powerful vision. Um, but again, I had this early this morning, and I knew I had to share this. This is my last attempt. I hope this recorded, but again, just wanted to let you guys know this is what was shown to me. Thank you all to all the new subscribers. I really appreciate you all. Thank you to the subscribers who have been with me from the beginning. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your prayers. Um, just thank you so much for everything. Um, I'm really blown away by just what the Lord has been doing with this channel. It's His channel, it's not mine. I give God all the honor and the glory for everything. And thank you all for your messages, for your emails. I apologize if I don't get back to you as quickly, but I'm really trying to do better. Um, but again, I love you. And if I receive anything else, I promise I will let you guys know. God bless you all.